A lot of folks work to put this together. I'm going to mention a few times that we're all volunteers that do this, and we do it because I told this to somebody, it's an infectious program. Once you do First Lego League once, you're sort of hooked for life, and that's a good thing. It's a really awesome program. But so we're here volunteering the same way that the great coaches out there are volunteering to do their work. So we want to make sure that we can help one another through this. So if you have questions, we'll try to answer them. If we can't answer them, please be patient, and we'll try to point you in the right direction. Quickly, I wanted to do some introductions. I told you who I am. This is Danny Diaz. He's our head referee for Central Texas FLL. I saw Dawn earlier. I don't know if she's in the room here. Dawn Myers is at 3M. She is our team liaison and a great resource for asking questions. Ben Black is right there, and you'll hear from him in just a minute too. He is coordinating helping to coordinate our qualifying tournaments, and will also be organizing judges for tournaments. Amanda Webster and Yvette Ruiz are not here today, but they're with NI, and they work on our public relations and recruiting volunteers. They're also your resource for mentors. If you want to get mentors for your team, we have a mentor sign-up process, and Yvette will send information out periodically to our listserv, like you will know about that. Rachel Wilkinson is our brand new FLL program coordinator. She's at Skill Point Alliance. Yay! Which is a local nonprofit here in Austin that serves as the regional partner for Central Texas FLL, meaning making sure that equipment gets ordered, making sure that meetings get called, that volunteers know how to help make the program. So she is your main point of contact. I'm Katie Kazire, again. I was formerly at Skill Point Alliance. I've just made a job change to the University of Texas and with the Environmental Science Institute. I will most likely be serving as a project judge this year because I love the project. And I'm stepping down as the FLL, so some of you may have known me as the person to go to. Feel free to ask me questions, but Rachel really knows what's going on now. Randy Hoskin, I misspelled his name, but he will forgive me, is an awesome volunteer for FLL as well. He's going to be helping out throughout the season. And then Kate Watson was the woman who made sure that you got checked in today. She's another excellent resource that's just stepped out. There are a whole bunch more people that aren't on that list, but you'll get to meet them throughout the season. So today, I'm going to give you a quick overview of First and First Lego League. We're going to talk about what the season here in Central Texas looks like, resources that you have, important dates to remember, and then we're going to do breakout sessions. We'll take half of you with Danny to go hear about the robot game. The other half will stay here, and instead of Dawn, Ben Black will actually be giving the research project overview, and then we'll swap the rooms so that you get both presentations. So First and FLL. First is an acronym, of course, because engineers like acronyms. So for inspiration and recognition of science and technology. The idea behind this program was to create a program where we could get parents and students and teachers excited about engineering and science and excited about exploring these more, using problem-solving skills in a way that has sort of a sports-like feel to it. So can we take science and can we take robotics and turn it into a game-type format? And like I said, it's an infectious program, so I think that they've done a good job. A great element about First is that it's got this stair-step model, so students can stay involved in First from the age of 6 all the way through graduating from high school. We're the red square here, First Lego League, ages 9 to 14. We've got a program for younger siblings. That's actually how it got started. Junior First Lego League was the siblings who wanted to be on FLL teams but weren't quite old enough yet. They created a program just for them. We don't have a coordinator here in Central Texas for the JFL program just yet, but we will be hosting an expo concurrently with our championship tournament. So anybody who had questions about JFLL, there will be a chance for students to be involved in our event too. Graduating from First Lego League, you can go into the First Tech Challenge, which is just starting to gain more teams here in the Central Texas region. We're really excited about the growth of that program because it's a nice intermediate step between First Lego League and then the first robotics competition, which is at the top of the pyramid there, or steps there. And this is really sort of like the First Tech Challenge and FRC are sort of like the junior varsity and varsity of the high school robotics program. really, this whole thing sort of aims at getting students into that FRC competition, because that's where things, I mean, FLL is pretty exciting, but at FRC, you're competing with like 6-foot-tall robots who are sharing a field and trying to accomplish missions together, and it really is like watching the Super Bowl. So there are 3 components of FLL, which is mainly what we're going to talk about today. Your team will be evaluated based on their research project, the robot game, and a concept called gracious professionalism, which is one of the core values of First LEGO League. And this is my favorite definition of gracious professionalism: how we should strive to act, whether we are being watched or not, in a way that would make our grandmothers proud. The idea behind this is that we get really excited about the game. We cheer one another on. We don't get negative about defeats. There's not any kind of, competition like we're going to take you down. That's not such a gracious attitude to have. This is something that teams are actually observed on, and people make a lot of comments about. You'll hear judges bring this up in the deliberation room quite a bit. So what to expect at the competition? It's funny because when I did this earlier, I was like, there are no head-to-head matches, and then I switched slides, and first thing on there was head-to-head robot matches. There are head-to-head robot matches. When you're on the competition floor, there are game tables side by side. You'll get a chance to see the game table in Danny's presentation. But it's not battle bots necessarily. I mentioned at FRC, you've got the big, tall robots that are sharing a floor and interact with one another. In FLL, there's very limited robot interaction, so you won't have robots smashing into each other, trying to destroy one another. But you will be competing side by side with another team. And there are judging sessions, and so these are scheduled presentations or interviews with judges in rooms. And actually, Ben will tell you more about the research project. There's also a robot design and programming judging session. Sometimes there is a teamwork-specific judging session. Sometimes it's worked into other elements. We'll get more into that. And really, this is a celebration of what your team has accomplished. That's the main focus of the competition. Here in Central Texas, we've seen enormous growth in the FLL program. We were seeing kind of a doubling of team size every year, and I hope it doesn't happen this year, because in 2008 we had just over 100 teams compete. I think there were 105 teams registered, and we had like 96 compete in the season. Today we already have 109 teams registered in the region, and registration is open through the end of this month. So we could have a lot of teams in Central Texas, which is exciting. So as we grow, we have to adjust, add qualifying tournaments and adjust our structure. So this slide is really just showing you sort of how the hierarchy of the program works, or how the championships, or the tournaments work, rather. So you'll see we'll have Central Texas qualifiers. There will be more than 5 this year, most likely, because we have so many teams. Teams will compete in only one qualifier. And then teams who are invited to advance will advance to our championship tournament. And I'll show you the date for that in just a minute. And then it's likely that we will receive, as a region, an invitation to send a team on to World Festival or some other type of invitational program. So last year, we actually were able to send 2 teams. We sent one team to the World Festival in Atlanta, and we sent another team to an open invitation in Ohio, I think. So that was kind of nice. And those were our top 2 teams from our championship tournament. So every team that's represented here will attend at least one qualifying tournament. Our Central Texas qualifiers will be held November 14th. We have 2 hosts already who have signed up to host tournaments on that date, Westlake and Lhasa, and these are actually our first robotics competition teams, so our high school teams who are hosting these for us, which is awesome. November 21st is our other date. Anderson and Westwood will be hosting tournaments on that date. And then we have some partners in San Antonio who have set up a competition on November 22nd. We're really excited about that. And then, as I mentioned, we've got so many teams signing up now that we know we're going to need one more qualifier, and we're still working out the details on who's going to host that and which date it will be on. But we try to hold them on Saturdays. Our championship tournament is set for December 12th. At this time, we've put in the request and are likely going to be at the same location we were last year, which is out in Leander at Rouse High School. It's an enormous facility, and we sort of take over the whole thing, and they allow us to do that, so we're very grateful. And then the World Festivals or Invitationals typically take place in April and May. So our season should be over before Christmas, which will be nice. And then there are potentially some spring activities for 1 or 2 teams in the region. All of this information will be posted on our website, centraltexasfll.org. Also, you will receive invitations to sign up for qualifiers in October through our Yahoo group, and also that you will sign up on the Central Texas FLL site.
Do you choose which date you want to go and compete? Or?
Yes, that's a great question. So when you go on to register for your qualifying tournament, you will select, and it'll probably be like, give us your top 3 choices. You'll select not only the date you prefer, but the location as well. And we, as a group, will do the very best we can to assign 109 teams or more to the qualifiers in a way. So you may not get your first choice, but we're going to really try to make that work. And we'll follow up with you to know exactly where and when your qualifier is. So last week, the challenge was, last week? Yes, the challenge was released online. You can actually go to the US First website and see all the information about the robot game, the mat, the missions, watch videos for it, read all the rules, and get an overview of the project. The registration closes in late September or when full. That's decided by US First. When full is really, the limiting factor is the number of mission models they have and field mats. So when they run out of those, they close registration. Otherwise, it typically closes at the end of September. So if you've not officially registered your team through First yet, do so as soon as possible. You can assign assign coaches at a later date, but go ahead and register and order your materials just so you make sure that you get what you need. And then in October, registration for our qualifying tournaments will open. You will receive communication about that. So what are you going to do November through December? You're going to participate in a qualifier, which will include a robot match. You'll have 3 robot matches that you do. We're going to give you more of an overview of what the actual competition looks like. You'll have 3 robot matches that you compete in, 2.5-minute long matches. And then your team will also be judged on their research project once, on their robot design programming once, and on teamwork, that actually tends to get judged throughout the entire thing. We try to keep you on your toes on that one. Should you advance to the championship tournament, you will register and pay for that immediately following the qualifier. And those teams who advance will receive an invitation to go register for the championship tournament. So, I've mentioned our website before. It's the best place to find information about what's going on in Central Texas. It's where we'll drive all of you to register for events. The Yahoo user group is probably the most important thing to get connected to. All information will be distributed through that. If you ask a question to an individual, more than likely we'll say, could you please post that to the Yahoo group? Or we'll answer your question and copy it to the Yahoo group. This ensures, number 1, that everybody receives the same information. And number 2, there's a limited number of volunteers who are running this program. And we have a certain amount of information, but there are an amazing number of returning coaches and mentors and other people who are on that Yahoo group. And often they can contribute information that we may not think to share. So you get better answers if you ask it to the Yahoo group.
Is that on the...
If you go to the site on the homepage in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a link directly there to sign up. Additionally, there will be some call-in sessions scheduled on Sunday afternoons and posted to the website. Please participate in these. A question was asked in the last session about the call-in, which is common. And Danny Diaz, one of our amazing volunteers, was lamenting that last year very few coaches actually called in. So he would come all the way up to work, set up a conference call, be ready to answer questions, and end up talking to himself a lot. Not only does he sit on those calls, but they record them and make them available later for coaches to listen in on. You can go really in depth with your questions when you've got an expert on the phone, more so than if you send an email out to a group. We can't always take the time to write out a really clear answer, but it's a great way to discuss strategy or questions you may have. However, we are the resources for what takes place here in Central Texas for our tournaments and for our teams. We are not the authority on rules for the FLL game, and really can't speak definitively about any of that stuff. US First makes those decisions, and they also have websites where you can go check that. And Danny will talk more about that. So that's just a brief overview of our season. Do you have any questions about it?
That call-in session, is that a phone conference or is it a video conference? Can we do it in that meeting?
It's a phone conference.
Okay,
Yeah. And they will be recorded. The coaches call into their phone conferences.
so there's no visual?
No. Not at this time. Any other questions about the general season overview? Who the players are? Yeah.
And in which quarterfinal, which tournament event would be the junior FLL included?
Good question. The Junior FLL Expo will be at the championship tournament. And even if your team is not invited to participate in the championship tournament, you are definitely invited to come watch and cheer on your other teams, to come check out the JFLL Expo. Last year we had the Texas Lego user groups who had brought out thousands of Legos and built like the Eiffel Tower and a train station and everything else. So there's cool stuff to see. The FRC teams, there are varsity robotics teams will also bring out some of their 6-foot tall robots and have them around. So it's a fun event even if you're not competing in it, and you're all welcome to attend. Any other questions before we split you up? Okay, so what I'm going to do now